Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're taking a look at the core principles of Islam.
Okay.
But, with a little twist,
All right.
we'll be diving into excerpts from this book by Ahmed Hulusi.
Okay.
It's called The Principles of Islam. And let me tell you, this isn't just going to be about, memorizing rituals and stuff.
Right.
Hulusi, he really takes us beyond the surface
Yeah.
to, uncover a really unique perspective on things.
Yeah. What's really cool about Hulusi is how he really pushes that inner experience of Islam,
Oh, interesting.
going way beyond just the outward actions.
Okay.
He really wants us to, grasp the deeper meaning
Uh-huh.
and truly live those
So
principles.
less about checking off boxes
Right.
and more about really internalizing the essence.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
He even criticizes, that tendency to reduce Islam to just rituals.
Mm.
He's like, it's not about just going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's about really experiencing the divine reality.
Okay, I am intrigued. So where do we even begin to unpack all this?
Well, let's start with Hulusi's definition of Islam itself.
Okay.
He describes it as reaching a state of peace, salvation, and submission to Allah's divine order.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
He believes this applies to all of creation, not just humans.
Oh, wow. So it's a universal principle,
Precisely.
not just a human religion.
Exactly. Hulusi argues that everything from the tiniest particle to the vast galaxies
Wow.
inherently submits to Allah's system.
Okay.
It's like a natural state of being.
So submission, not in a forced sense, but as a recognition of this underlying order.
Exactly.
Yes.
And to illustrate this point, he uses this really, this story that really stuck with me, the story of Moses and the shepherd.
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful reminder that there are different ways to connect with the divine.
Right.
Yeah.
So Moses encounters the shepherd
Yeah.
who has this very simple,
Yeah.
almost childlike way of talking to Allah. And Moses, being this learned prophet,
Yeah.
he initially criticizes the shepherd's approach.
Yeah, but then Allah reveals to Moses that he's actually pushed away a devoted servant
Right.
by trying to impose his own, rigid understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It highlights that danger of judging other people's paths to the divine.
right.
The shepherd, in his innocence,
Mhm.
had a genuine connection that Moses totally overlooked.
It's a great reminder that there are so many ways to experience faith and that humility is so essential.
And that leads us to another key Islamic principle that Hulusi challenges us to rethink
Okay,
the declaration of faith. There is no God but Allah.
right.
He encourages a deeper interpretation than just the surface level.
So it's not just about rejecting other gods.
No, it's about recognizing the illusory nature of our separate selves
Okay,
and realizing that only Allah truly exists.
interesting.
He says everything we perceive is just a manifestation of Allah's names and attributes.
Wow, that's a profound shift in perspective.
He connects this to the Quranic verse.
Okay,
So wherever you turn, there is the face of Allah,
right.
emphasizing that omnipresence of the divine.
Not as some external being, but as the very fabric of reality itself.
Precisely.
Wow.
Now, how do we actually experience this profound truth?
Right.
Hulusi says it's through practices like salat or prayer,
Okay.
but he sees prayer as way more than just these physical motions.
He differentiates between performing salat and experiencing salat.
Exactly.
What's that difference?
So performing salat is about just going through the motions.
Okay.
But experiencing salat is about achieving a state of ascension, of uniting with Allah.
So it's about internalizing the meaning behind the actions.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
He talks about 3 levels of certainty:
Okay.
knowing Allah is one, observing that oneness during prayer,
All right.
and actually experiencing that oneness.
So someone might intellectually grasp the concept, but that's different from actually feeling it.
Right. Hulusi emphasizes that salat should be about cultivating that feeling,
Okay.
that awe and recognition of Allah's grandeur.
He also cautions against reducing prayer to just rigid rituals and routines.
Yes. He wants us to move beyond just the external form
Okay.
and experience that inner transformation.
Yeah.
He calls it fanafila, the annihilation of the ego in the presence of the divine.
Wow.
And speaking of specific prayers,
Yeah.
what about Friday Salat?
Yeah. Friday prayer holds special significance in Islam.
It does.
What does Hulusi say about that?
He focuses on the phrase, "He who turns his face away from my sunnah,"
Mm-hmm.
but he argues it's not about neglecting outward customs.
So it's not about just showing up on Friday.
No, it's about truly understanding and adhering to the principles of faith,
Okay.
the deeper meanings behind those practices.
So he's emphasizing inner transformation over simply conforming to societal norms.
Precisely.
Yeah, it's about aligning our actions with a genuine understanding of the faith.
Interesting.
And this focus on going beyond the superficial also applies to Hulusi's interpretation of the Fatiha,
Okay.
the opening chapter of the Quran recited during every prayer. He questions the traditional interpretation of hamd,
Okay.
which is usually translated as praise.
So we're not supposed to praise Allah.
Hulusi argues that as these limited beings, we can't truly comprehend Allah enough to offer genuine praise.
Okay.
He says true hamd is recognizing our limitations
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledging that only Allah can truly know and evaluate himself,
So instead of praising, we should focus on acknowledging our own limitations.
and marveling at Allah's infinite nature.
Wow.
He uses the analogy of a human compared to the vastness of the cosmos.
Right.
Like, how can we possibly claim to praise the creator of all of that?
Yeah, that is a humbling thought.
It is.
So if we can't praise Allah, what are we supposed to do during prayer?
Hulusi suggests acknowledging our inability to praise and focusing on recognizing our complete dependence on Allah and our submission to his will. It's about cultivating a state of humility and surrender,
Yes.
not just uttering empty words.
Mm-hmm.
This is making me reconsider my own understanding of prayer.
And speaking of challenging concepts,
Yeah.
Hulusi's perspective on hell might surprise you.
He doesn't see it as a place of eternal torture.
He doesn't.
Really?
He believes hell is a place of cleansing, a
Right.
process of purification
Interesting.
through burning away harmful conditioning and attachment.
So it's more about spiritual growth than punishment?
Exactly. He distinguishes between physical burning,
Okay.
the pain experienced in the afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual burning, which
Okay.
is about letting go of our ego or desires and false beliefs.
So like an internal cleansing.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
He even compares it to a necessary medical procedure.
Oh, wow.
He argues that suffering can be a form of grace,
Okay.
just like a painful surgery can ultimately heal us.
Right.
This process of cleansing is ultimately for our benefit, helping us shed our limitations and move closer to Allah.
So even in hell, there's an element of mercy and a path towards purification.
Precisely.
That's really interesting. This is a radically different way of looking at hell than what I'm used to.
It is.
Before we move on, what are your initial thoughts? What's resonating with you so far?
Well, what stands out to me is how Hulusi redefines even the most basic Islamic concepts.
Okay.
Like, take the concept of servitude or ibadah in Islam.
Mm-hmm.
He distinguishes between two types.
Okay.
Absolute servitude,
Right.
which is the inherent submission of all creation to Allah's order,
Right.
and conscious servitude,
Okay.
which is actively recognizing and acknowledging that submission.
So even without realizing it, we're all constantly serving Allah just by existing.
Precisely. Hulusi uses a powerful verse from the Fatiha to illustrate this point.
Okay.
You alone we serve, and from you alone we seek help.
Mm-hmm.
He says it applies to all of existence at all times,
Wow.
not just humans during prayer.
That's a really profound way to reframe worship.
It is.
It's not about earning paradise through our actions, but about acknowledging our constant reliance on Allah.
Exactly. Our every breath, every beat of our heart is an act of servitude.
Wow.
And that brings us to another fascinating concept. Hulusi explores guidance, or hidayah.
Okay.
He sees it as a continuous process facilitated by Allah, but his perspective on how this guidance unfolds is really unique.
He talks about the influence of cosmic forces, right?
Yeah.
Like astrology.
Hulusi believes guidance is transmitted through these cosmic influences,
Right.
specifically the effects of astrological signs and the influence of angels.
Interesting.
He even touches upon the influence of the jinn,
Mm-hmm.
another type of unseen being,
Right.
emphasizing the importance of protection through specific Quranic verses.
So guidance isn't just an internal process of contemplation, but also involves being open to these external forces shaping our lives.
Exactly. He connects this back to the phrase, guide us to the straight path,
Right.
interpreting it as a request for ease in fulfilling our divinely ordained purpose, which is shaped by these cosmic influences.
So it's like aligning ourselves with these subtle forces nudging us towards our destiny.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
And that brings us to the concept of a blessed path mentioned in the Fatiha.
Okay.
Hulusi says this isn't about following a set of rules, but about aligning ourselves with the divine will,
Right.
experiencing the joy of surrender to that greater plan.
Interesting.
He also talks about those who have evoked your wrath, and those who are astray.
Who are those groups in his interpretation?
He believes those who have evoked Allah's wrath are trapped in the illusion of a separate self and a God external to themselves.
Okay.
They resist that ultimate unity that's at the heart of Islam.
Gotcha.
Those who are astray have deviated from the path of recognizing that unity,
Okay.
losing themselves in the pursuit of worldly desires and ego-driven pursuits.
So the blessed path is about transcending those limitations and realizing oneness with Allah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hulusi then delves into the specific actions of bowing, or ruku, and prostration, or sujud, during salat,
Okay.
unpacking their deeper meaning.
So even those physical actions carry profound spiritual significance.
Yes, he emphasizes experiencing these actions with full consciousness and understanding,
Okay.
not just going through the motions.
It reminds us of that distinction between performing salat and experiencing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Hulusi emphasizes intentionality and awareness in every aspect of faith.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the third pillar of Islam, fasting during Ramadan.
Okay.
He acknowledges the physical benefits, like strengthening the spirit body,
Right.
but then introduces different levels of fasting
Okay.
that go beyond abstaining from food and drink.
Like abstaining from seeing anything other than Allah?
Yes.
No.
And experiencing the state of samadhiya,
Okay.
which is complete absorption in the divine.
That's intense.
It highlights Hulusi's emphasis on inner transformation, even in a practice focused on physical restraint.
Right.
He emphasizes internal purification and spiritual elevation.
This deep dive is full of those aha moments.
It is.
It's making me re-examine so much of what I thought I knew.
Yeah, and we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
Hulusi's take on Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, is particularly fascinating.
Okay.
He sees it as much more than a physical journey.
He talks about Hajj activating new brain circuits with high-frequency energy.
He does.
What does that even mean?
Well, Hulusi believes the Kaaba,
Okay.
the central structure in Mecca, acts as a powerful energy station, emitting these high-frequency waves. These waves can activate dormant aspects of our personality,
Okay.
leading to profound spiritual experiences.
It sounds almost like a sci-fi concept.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this idea could explain why some individuals experience negative changes after visiting the Kaaba,
Interesting.
while others undergo positive transformations.
Yeah.
It all depends on which aspects of their being are activated by this energy.
So it's like an energetic catalyst for spiritual growth.
Exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of visiting Arafat,
Okay.
a plain outside Mecca, during Hajj.
Okay.
He says it's crucial for achieving forgiveness and aligning with the collective intention of seeking Allah's mercy.
It's remarkable how he connects these physical locations with specific spiritual states and transformations.
It is.
And what about the Zamzam water?
Hulusi believes that Zamzam water
Yeah.
flowing from a well near the Kaaba
Okay.
is imbued with beneficial properties because it passes through that same source of positive radiation beneath the Kaaba.
So it's not just water.
No.
It's like special water.
He even compares it to contaminated water from Chernobyl,
Oh, wow.
highlighting Zamzam's positive energetic qualities.
It's a powerful image
Yeah.
that speaks to the unique energy of that location.
It does?
So what about Zakah,
Okay.
the fifth pillar of Islam?
Hulusi links it back to Salat,
Okay.
saying Salat is our spiritual debt to Allah,
Okay.
while Zakah is our worldly debt to others.
Hmm.
He even brings in that beautiful Sufi concept of taking from the one and giving to the people,
I love that.
referencing the whirling practice of the Malawi order.
It's a reminder that giving isn't just about the act itself,
Right.
but also about the intention behind it.
Exactly. And the form of giving influences the type of return we receive.
Oh, interesting.
Giving material things yields material benefits,
Okay.
while giving knowledge and spiritual insight fosters spiritual growth.
It's about aligning our giving with our aspirations, whether material or spiritual.
Exactly.
So we've covered a vast amount of ground here.
We have.
From Islam as a universal system to the depths of prayer and servitude, challenging concepts like hell and divine guidance.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. Where do we go from here?
And throughout, Hulusi encourages us to move beyond a superficial understanding of these concepts,
Yeah.
and really engage with them
Yeah.
with curiosity and open-mindedness.
He's challenging us to go deeper,
He is.
to seek true understanding and experience like the essence of Islam, not just its outer form.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff.
It is. And that leads us to the third pillar of Islam,
Okay.
fasting during Ramadan.
Right.
He acknowledges the physical benefits, like strengthening the spirit body.
Yeah.
But then introduces these different levels of fasting
Right.
that go beyond just abstaining from food and drink.
He talks about abstaining from seeing anything other than Allah.
Yes.
Oh.
And experiencing the state of samadhiya,
Okay.
which is complete absorption in the divine.
That's intense.
It is. It highlights Hulusi's emphasis on inner transformation. Even in a practice that's focused on physical restraint.
Right.
He's still emphasizing internal purification and spiritual elevation.
This deep dive is full of aha moments.
It is.
It's making me re-examine so much of what I thought I knew.
Yeah, and we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
Hulusi's take on Hajj,
Okay.
the pilgrimage to Mecca,
Right.
is particularly fascinating. Okay.
He sees it as much more than just a physical journey.
He talks about Hajj activating new brain circuits.
He does.
With high-frequency energy, right?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, Hulusi believes the Kaaba,
Okay.
the central structure in Mecca, acts as a powerful energy station,
Okay.
emitting these high-frequency waves.
Okay.
And these waves can activate like dormant aspects of our personality,
Interesting.
leading to profound spiritual experiences.
It sounds almost like a sci-fi concept.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this idea could explain why some individuals experience negative changes after visiting the Kaaba,
Oh, wow.
while others undergo like positive transformations.
Right.
It all depends on which aspects of their being are activated by this energy.
So it's like an energetic catalyst for spiritual growth.
Exactly.
That's pretty wild.
And he emphasizes the importance of visiting Arafat,
Okay.
a plain outside Mecca during Hajj.
Uh-huh.
He says it's crucial for achieving forgiveness.
And aligning with the collective intention of seeking Allah's mercy.
It's remarkable how he connects these physical locations with specific spiritual states
It is.
and transformations.
Yeah.
What about the Zamzam water?
Hulusi believes that Zamzam water flowing from a well near the Kaaba is imbued with beneficial properties because it passes through that same source of positive radiation beneath the Kaaba.
So it's not just water.
No.
It's like special water.
He even compares it to contaminated water from Chernobyl,
Oh, wow.
highlighting Zamzam's positive energetic qualities.
It's a powerful image
Yeah,
that speaks to the unique energy of that location.
it does.
So what about Zakah,
Okay.
the fifth pillar of Islam?
Hulusi links it back to Salat,
Okay.
saying Salat is our spiritual debt to Allah,
Right.
while Zakah is our worldly debt to others.
Interesting.
He even brings in that beautiful Sufi concept of taking from the one and giving to the people,
I love that.
referencing the whirling practice of the Malawi order.
It's a reminder that giving isn't just about the act itself,
Right.
but also about the intention behind it.
Exactly. And the form of giving influences the type of return we receive.
Oh, interesting.
Giving material things yields material benefits,
Oh.
while giving knowledge and spiritual insight fosters spiritual growth.
It's about aligning our giving with our aspirations, whether material or spiritual.
Exactly.
So we've covered a vast amount of ground here,
We have.
from Islam as a universal system
Yeah.
to the depths of prayer and servitude,
Mm-hmm.
challenging concepts like hell and divine guidance.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. Where do we go from here?
Well, it's been an incredible journey, through Hulusi's unique perspective on Islam.
It really has.
What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from this whole deep dive?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, Hulusi's emphasis on the Kaaba as like this potent energy source,
Right.
it just blows my mind.
It's mind-blowing.
It totally like reframes Hajj
Yeah.
as way more than just a physical pilgrimage.
It is.
Like, it's a journey that could potentially activate, profound spiritual transformation.
Absolutely. And remember how he connected that Zamzam water
Oh, yeah.
to that energy field. It's
Yeah.
not just a symbolic drink,
Right.
but potentially something that is imbued with this unique energetic quality.
I find that fascinating.
Me too.
It definitely adds another dimension to understanding Hajj.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Hulusi's fascinating connection between Zakah and Salat.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's saying we have both spiritual and worldly debts to pay.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about blindly giving.
Right.
Hulusi highlights how the form of giving
Yeah.
influences the kind of return you receive.
Right.
There's a real depth to that idea.
It makes you really consider what you're truly offering when you give.
Yeah.
Is it just like material possessions or something more like
Okay.
knowledge and insight?
Exactly. And that Sufi concept he brings in,
Oh, yeah.
taking from the one and giving to the people.
I love that.
Such a beautiful way to view that flow of energy and generosity.
Absolutely. We've explored so much.
We have.
The idea of Islam is like this universal system,
Mm-hmm.
the depths of prayer and servitude,
Yeah.
challenging concepts like hell and divine guidance.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you hope our listener walks away with?
That's a great question. I would say don't settle for a superficial understanding of your beliefs.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Keep exploring, keep that sense of wonder alive.
Yeah.
Whether you're a devout Muslim or just beginning to explore spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
there's always more to discover.
Right.
And Hulusi's approach to Islam provides a roadmap for that kind of profound transformative journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's invaluable.
Beautifully said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Absolutely.
Keep seeking, and we'll see you next time.